Spinning, spinning, going live. We're live. What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for another fantastic live stream tonight. Okay, of course, we always do these on Sundays. We'll take a looky-loo on what's going on in the market, looking at the overall metrics, just looking at the overall indexes. That's the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Russell. And then, of course, we're going to be going into the chat and looking at some charts, some stocks that people are mentioning, talking about, and so forth. So, yeah, we'll have some fun going into that for sure. Always enjoy these live streams for sure. Paul, Dave, ARTUR, what's up, my friends? Thank you guys for coming out on another Sunday. Look at the market here. Just got to give a little bit of understanding what I'm doing. So next week we'll most likely will not have a live stream on Sunday. We're going to try to do it on Saturday. And then the following week it's going to be a little bit hit and miss due to vacation. So stay tuned for that. But there's definitely going to be some fun stuff to look for. So what I'm really looking for and what I'm looking at is earnings season to start soon. So earnings season for me really doesn't start until the 14th of next month. So that's really when the financial stocks start looking at. Again, the Bank of America, JP Morgan, Citi. These are the first kind of stocks that kind of set the tone for some market moves. And again, it's the financial sector, which is the second largest indexes and grouping of categories within the market. So it's technology, then it's financials, from that standpoint of how much market share they have, and especially the weighted S&P 500 here. So S&P 500, looking here at the futures market, there's not really much of anything going on here. They're very just kind of calm and collect here. Again, I think we're somewhat kind of saturated with the stuff that we saw just last year, this time frame, where we're seeing markets up and down 30, 40 points, and a percentage here and there was like mind-blowing. And now these small basis points of tenth of a basis point, it means nothing for anything. But looking at the standpoint, the ES in the short term, which I kind of just put this out to the Patreon and the YouTube members, we're looking at this potential very short Fibonacci number kind of coming in here for some overall resistance. It's going to be coming at 4,293 or 95, almost that $3,000 level. That's going to be basically kind of cementing a pretty large landmark here to kind of see if we can break above that. Does that mean we're going to continue going higher? Sure, why not? I kind of feel like we might just get some chop continuously kind of waiting into the second-ish week of July. Normally, historically speaking, statistically looking at like just the time period, the market does kind of have a little bit of a bump up going into the 4th of July weekend, which again, if you're not familiar with that, that's here in the United States. That's coming out on Sunday. So a week from today, it's going to be 4th of July here in the United States. And of course, a lot of people parties, go out, celebrate, go on vacation like this guy, and so forth. So it's a very time where there's actually not that much participation in the market, and it's a little bit more looked at it more of an optimistic movement to see in there. So on that note, let's go ahead and look at some of the folks on the thing. How's my Sunday going? My Sunday's going great. It was a very hot and humid day. Marty, good afternoon to you. Kay says, yo, what's up? Dave, SCNS. Yes, we can look at SCNS. Of course, this one, again, if you just took a screenshot of this Fibonacci tree that we drew way back when it hit that 550-ish plus, it's kind of been very submissive to the Fibonacci sequence here. We are seeing some consolidation. It's a little more volatile than I like to see, around that 357 range. That's also a pretty key level at that 618 here, or the 61.8 level here. We would like to see this kind of continue to hold here, to really see it try to push higher here into that new category of reaching that 450 plus range. But if it doesn't hold and it gets some kind of pullback here, we do have that alert I have out here at basically $3. So that's going to be some kind of level of support on the way down. Again, we did see a nice smorgasbord of volume coming in on Friday as well to kind of see that, to kind of to look at that standpoint there. Everyone says Alibaba and Baidu look great too. Yeah, we did talk about via the Discord. We talked about Alibaba. We bought into this just a little bit. I sold some puts on it, some premium on it, some spreads around that 210 to 215 range. And that really broke out, as you can see here, into this week, getting a very nice little push higher here. So next level we want to be concerned about here with especially Alibaba would be around that 223 to 230 range. So get ready for maybe potentially some overhead resistance coming in there. And Baidu, I haven't looked at this one for a minute. Yeah, it's kind of the same kind of pattern here. It's trying to get, it looks a little bit more healthier, trying to break above this 144 EMA here at the 200 plus range. So that's also a nice little sign to see if that we can get a little kick higher here, especially with this one has been really fall from grace here again. This was a prime suspect in that that hedge fund being over levered just a couple months ago, right? I think this was one of their larger positions as well, with like Discovery and everything. Dave is also talking about EDIT, popped up a little bit. Yeah, a lot of these like former growth stocks, they're kind of coming back here, getting above that 144 EMA here. Again, these stocks were absolutely insane last year. Even earlier this year, the stock was reaching 100, and now it's back down to $41. Like, what the heck? Like, is this? It's really just a like a no kind of scenario here, like of what's going on here. Like, I think this was also a large play for Cathie Wood, if I stand corrected or not. I think it was. But yeah, this one's trying to come back here as well. It built some kind of consolidation around $35 here, and now it's trying to break out here. A key level to kind of see a break above would be that $47 to $50 range. Ryan, what's up, my man? Wish, yes, I wish upon a star on this one. This has definitely been getting a lot more movement here. I highlighted this one actually for a friend, and I sent a screenshot to him here. I'm looking for Wish. If it can kind of continue, and we see this like continuously buying momentum into this one, this 8 EMA here on the daily chart is basically kind of creating a line of a trend line here in the short term. So if I can kind of zoom in here, what we're looking for each time ever since the breakout has happened with Wish, it's come down to that 8 EMA and touched it. You can see it's touched it here, bounced right back. It touched it here, it touched it here, 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 and here. And each and every single time, it kind of bounced back and ricocheted off of that. So looking for that can kind of continue. So that kind of puts it around that $13 range is going to be that short-term support there, Ryan. But that overall target what we're going to be looking for is 15 plus and trying to get into that range here. So that box is actually the Fibonacci number between the 50 percentile move and the 618 as well. That's kind of that sweet spot that we potentially could see it land in that box there. And ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate if you smash that like button as well. Zillow, yes, I talked about Zillow just a couple days ago, I believe. I talked about a Discord first, and then I posted a video about it. That I kind of like this play here. It did hit a key resistance coming into Friday, which is where we picked it up at on a downward move. I think we got it in around like $119, most of it. And then looking for this to kind of, if it does pull back here, we're going to be looking for some support around 115 to 113. It's going to be that short-term level of support here. But looking for that to break above 121 and making its way back up to 130. And potentially, this is a longer-term play, we're looking for that 150 again, because this was a market darling earlier this year and last year on, again, with the housing crisis, I really do mean crisis, because there's such a pent up demand in home buying right now, and it's insane on the market. Again, we had a house just right down the street. It was listed. It had the little marquee outside of it saying "coming soon," and it came soon. And then within less than 24 hours, it was already under contract. And it was like nearly 100K over asking as well. So it was like insane, the membrane. Crashing vids. MX may spike early pre-market like FAAL on Friday. MX only has 2 million shares outstanding. This is a penny stock. No, it's not. Okay. Mexican energy company. Never heard of this one. There's not that much volume on this one, so it's not the most liquid stock that I would like to look at. But the trend looks pretty decent here. Again, it does hold at 144 EMA. It just looks pretty like a fine and dandy thing. Again, it's hitting that short-term level support here. I like the support stronger around that 775 there, my friend. Paul's asking about CRSP. Had a good run these last few weeks on a spike on Friday. How do you feel like this moving this weekend? On a weekly basis, it's going to be very difficult. If I look at the CRISPR, oops, not typing it. Yeah, very nice move. Again, a lot of the stocks we were talking about, a lot of people have been commenting about, as these are stocks that have been kind of slightly coming back here. They've been somewhat dormant. I don't know about forgotten about, but just not really looked after and really talked about much. But they're really kind of coming back with vengeance here. With CRISPR Therapeutics here, we're looking for potentially 148 to 150. That's going to be a pretty significant key level here, but that's going to be in a little bit longer dated chart that we normally look at here on a weekly side, and really kind of potentially seeing that break into that range. Because again, the technology in these therapeutical stocks and understanding the sequencing and all that stuff takes pretty much of a pretty substantial degree to completely fundamentally understand the whole understanding behind it. Like if it's just like 2 or 3 paragraphs, I can understand what the company's doing, but this is definitely something that is groundbreaking. I know a lot of people want to be involved with it and everything, but again, this is something that could be very volatile. Like anything that has like therapeutics that's in the pharma market, it's just going to be pretty volatile and very much ready for a ride. But this one has been, very strong, kind of coming through here. We are seeing the 8 or the 34 kind of cross through this EMA here, the 144. That could be a potential small catalyst here. But if we continue to see in the market, especially growth stocks, outperform this week, we can easily see that hit that 148 there. John, what's up, my friend? Kyle is asking for Apple. Yeah, Apple's getting a lot of negative news I've noticed lately. We're kind of falling into that same kind of trend here. We saw consolidating around that 120, kind of came up to 130, came back down to 120 here-ish again, to that 125. Now it's coming back up to that 130 range. Will we be coming back down? I don't know. I think we can, at least in the short term, if we stay above 130 or 131 to be more precise here, I think we could see some potentially consolidation here. But if we start seeing it kind of close or gap down below this line, and a lot of the tech stocks or the big tech get something in the news about the Senate wants to pass something against big tech or monopolizing things, or especially the biggest one right now that I hear a lot about Apple is the App Store, and they're the 30% premium that people have to pay. Sorry. Excuse me. That's the 30% of you have to pay towards Apple to be in the App Store, right? So that's kind of something that's been going on there. But if big tech wants to run, Apple's definitely going to be a major part of that. Let's see here. Hey, Ken, can we look at Val? Yep, sure. This thing has definitely kind of come back here. This is one that we've been trading for a little bit here. It's not like a rocket ship that we were in it around this range here, around $17 ish. looking for this again, make an all-time high on Friday here. But if we go into the weekly chart, which I was looking at this one, this thing has been completely gangbusters here, right? Again, with commodity prices, rare minerals, and all this kind of stuff, with not just the lockdown, just of changing market trends and everything. Like this has been completely gangbusters here. So the 34 EMA was somewhat my guiding light on this one, and that's one I want to be continuously kind of looking for to kind of see here. In the short term, we potentially could see some support coming around 2230 here, but even coming it down to around that 2150 to 2160 range to kind of see if we do see that valve kind of coming back in that range. Because if we look here on the daily chart here, this thing usually has like this like staircase mentality where kind of consolidates, breaks out higher, kind of consolidates, breaks out higher. So we could be potentially in this consolidation mode and maybe seeing it break out from there. PGNY, that sounds very familiar. Yeah, it's kind of coming right into that 34 EMA here, so that's nothing to be like okay with on the trend basis. It is pretty steep and fast. I forget what this company does. Oh, wrong button. Based fertilizer ferment. Okay. So that's interesting. As you can see here, this does have pretty, like, not saying the past will always tell you the future, but it can kind of dictate where we potentially could see. So I always live on the philosophy is that history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. So it's always kind of in the same kind of note, not the same exact note, but it's in the same kind of metric or the same kind of category and flow. Definitely on earnings, this thing does spike up and down pretty drastically. But the 34 EMA here around $60-ish to $59 potentially could be some short-term level of support here. But if we see this continuously like negative like selling pattern here, again, that's a pretty large volume spike coming into Friday as well. So that's going to be maybe potentially waiting maybe 3 to 5 days to kind of see if it does kind of consolidate here. If it doesn't, we can maybe see it go lower here. But this is definitely an interesting one to look out for there, my friend. John, thank you for the $10, my friend. Lunch on me tomorrow. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you, John. Do you have a stock you want to look at? Oh, Ryan wants to look at PLTR. Yes, let's look at PLTR. Yeah, PLTR is something that's which I'm happy about. Like, I'm not seeing it that much on Twitter. I'm not seeing it that much on YouTube anymore, and so forth. It's kind of been dormant, and it hasn't been like everyone's binoculars and crosshairs are looking at it. It's just kind of been chilling, especially with PLTR. This thing has been an insane ride, right? This is basically something insane in the membrane where we've seen this crazy movements in the stock due to, again, ARK and Cathie Wood buying it, due to Wall Street Bets buying into it. Then we had Andrew Left and Citron report come out on a short report last year, if you remember that stuff. This thing has been insane. This stock has is going to be out almost a year at this point, and a couple months. And I have to honestly thank Alpaca again, because Alpaca or Marty within the Discord, I gotta thank him so much for letting me putting my eyeballs on this stock here. Anywho, with PLTR, we talked about this one a little bit, I think, Ryan, during the Discord here, and looking for that $27-ish range here, potentially to be met or broken here. And really that 27 plus is that potential level of support we want to see continuously kind of grind higher here. But PLTR is in a longer term play for me. We did see a lot of volume coming in Friday as well, so we potentially could see that continuously upward momentum there. Makeshifts looking for knock. Yeah, is this on Wall Street Bets radar there, Mick? Of course, I got to pull up. Where did I trading? Okay, let's see here. Wall Street. Let's see here. This is the site I always look at. Let's see. Wall Street Bets. Ticker sentiment. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, ticker. So, SPY, Clover, GME, Wish, AMC, Tesla, CLME. I'm not seeing it. Okay, it is kind of on here lightly. Okay, that's interesting. It did have a spike coming up on the 26th, but it kind of died down pretty drastically, pretty fast. So it's interesting what we can see with NOC. Again, this one kind of falls into that the Fibonacci numbers here. Again, that $5.57 is going to be that really pretty significant line in the sand here. If it does break above that, it could easily potentially reach that $6.65. But in the short term, we have some support coming in around $5 there. Edward says, have you made any plans for 4th of July? Yes, I will be going on vacation with my family, Edward. John's asking, late, Tesla has unusual recent calls in near-term gains with Q3 production results. Are you asking, like, and there's any, like, interesting stuff on Tesla via, like, short-term? I don't know. Let me pull up Tesla here. It has earnings on this. It says it's not for sure yet. It still has a question mark here on the tree here. It's looking at the 721. So we're going to be looking for something that's pretty near term. So we're going to look at like the expiration of that month here. I'm pulling up a second window here, and looking at this chart. I'm not seeing anything crazy with Tesla. There are some like in the short term, like this weekly options. There was someone buying like the $700 one. There's a lot of look at that. There's like 35,000 volume on the $700 call. So that's a little bit more outlandish there, because again, the starting of the day it only had 10. So what would be a tall tale sale sign there, John, would be if this 35,000 contracts actually translate into the open interest in coming in tomorrow. That would entail there was a lot of just call buying straight out. And really seeing that potentially can create that movement. Again, with Tesla, there has been a lot of news. Again, most folks that trade Tesla, it's pretty much insane, the membrane, and seeing it really just kind of, especially in the last couple of months, have been kind of just trading sideways to down quite a bit here. Looking for this, again, Tesla to reach that $700 plus range. Really looking for that target around 720 plus. That's going to be a very key level to see. We'll see if that can kind of potentially kick it higher here. We do have those again. These are both Fibonacci numbers from the swing high to swing low in the short term here. So it's potentially the 618 and the 78 percentile move here on that moves higher here. Some other things I want to look out for is, again, as we said, the earnings that are coming out the 21st potentially. You can kind of tell here if you're kind of looking through the options volume here on the implied volatility here. You see that this thing is pretty outlandish here, higher here, the 23rd here, and then we can kind of see again that $700 call has also been bought substantially more than other ones. So take it as you, again, we don't know the understanding, John, of who's buying it or why they're buying it. It just a lot of potential accumulation. If the open interest continues to climb, that could be a pretty tall tale sale potentially. Edward's asking for CHPT. Never heard of that one. ChargePoint Holdings. Yeah, let's see how this one looks like. Again, with Tesla potentially basically opening the floodgates here. This one, again, this was a SPAC, it looks like, of some kind. We're going to see this kind of, I'm not going to pull the SPAC level here. Let me go plug this here. Yeah, it kind of failed here. Potentially that 50% trust, 50% swing high to low here. This could be somewhat of a short-term support coming in around $30 here. If that doesn't hold, we can easily see a break 30, come down to 28, even $26 there, my friend. Ross, what's up, my friend? Hey, Ken, can we take a look at Nike and Walmart? Yes, I love me some Walmart. So I am in Walmart. I'm just selling some premium on it. I'm selling around the 130-ish. That was just a couple days ago here. Looking for Walmart to try to make its way back up to 140, even to 142. I think it's not even really, I wouldn't even call some of these trades like reopening plays. I think just like Walmart's just going to be a place where it's just going to be continue to grow, especially with the competing world with Amazon. But it's just a great little thing kind of trade because it does play pretty fairly nice with the Fibonacci tree here, from my experience here. But speaking of that, Nike had a fantastic earnings, so I own this one as well. This thing just blew the face off here, and seeing the direct-to-consumer sales just go gangbusters here. And we're seeing that kind of come through. We had this one, we talked about this one quite a bit here, actually. That was when China made a report about they're using the migrant workers that are like enslaved to do the work that normal factory workers would do. So it's basically like, in the sense of word, like slavery. But we talked about this one multiple times on coming into that 125 range. And we sold premium at both of these ranges here, and saw it really kind of bounce higher. But each time it bounced, it could not get past that 137 range for some whatever reason. Earnings was coming out. Again, blew the top off here, went insane here. That's an enormous move. Like, I cannot, in the short term, swing high to low. Oh, here, come on now. The swing high to low here, that is reaching it the 1272, so it's around $154 here. The next level would be potentially 160 here, and that thing could potentially run because this was a Thursday evening earnings going to Friday, so that could potentially kind of create more of a news cycle to potentially see that move up to 160 in a very short period of time. I'm crashing. Cringe video says ALF over the past 4 trading days has been nearly identical price action and volume profile as LEDs from 520 to laser degree mostly for a. Yeah, that's a nice move. That's definitely like an early stage of going parabolic here. So maybe it's already going parabolic because it was going from $3 all the way to 20. It's been holding the 8 EMA here. It's not even been touching the 8 EMA. It's just continued to climb here. So that's very, very impressive moves higher there. Alan, space. Vincent, you brought up space. I don't want to say I called the bottom, but I did. I bought the January 15 calls at the low here. Okay, I bought like the short-term leaps on these ones, the $15 call. Okay, they're for $40. Okay, do you want to know? I paid like $3, maybe under $3 for them, and this has been just a monster here. This thing is just continued to climb here. I really done messed it up. I got really greedy here. I really sold out at that first level when it actually, well, I sold out the first level here when it hit 21, and then that second gap higher, I sold out at 25. So it still was a very nice trade here, but space is just really going to the moon, as you say here, Vincent, and seeing it potentially trying to test that 62.80, which is an all-time high again, if that continued movement. But these are multiple gaps up here. This is a very large gap up going to Thursday into Friday here. So this is something to be well aware about. Again, these gap ups, look at that volume coming in just on Friday here. That's more volume that we've had in the last like 6 months. That's how much volume that came into, like, how much shares were traded on that given day. So very volatile, a lot of people's radar, and it did make a pretty large rocket ship jump there. AKA is looking for roadblocks. Yeah, I kind of had that on my radar as well. I always forget the symbol for robe. Oh, what's roadblocks symbol? Oh, what is it? I think I can just type it. Yeah, RBLX. So you can kind of see I did a little, like, just very basic Fibonacci analysis here. I did a previous swing high to low. What we can also look at is the symmetry between the extensions here. So swing high to low to here. That kind of came into a very key level as well, that 100% and the 1272. So here around $79 to $80 is a pretty nice key level of support here. It is kind of bouncing higher here. That $88 to around $91 could be a pretty like choppy airspace for them to kind of carry through here. If it does kind of continue to kind of carry through here, but the only thing is we're not seeing that volume kind of kick in here. Again, we did see some volume coming in on the downward move, but now we need to see that volume kind of potentially kind of push it higher into this next coming weeks or so. Meme stocks, the CLF. Yeah, CLF, I did see some people post about that one. Again, this chart has been very nice. Like, it just looks like a nice trend here. It does a little wavy, a little choppy here. But that 34 EMA is just kind of continue to kind of grind here. Looking for some short-term support coming around 2050 there. Chris says, what you think about GUSH? It's a Dexcon, oil and gas exploration. Yeah, I don't know too much about these, my friend. I'm a little bit always hesitant about these leverage ETFs here. There's only 2x bull one, but in the short term here, it looks like it wants to potentially break out here. The fundamental story behind of commodities continue going higher, sure, I believe it. I think that definitely can happen here. I don't think inflation's here to stay for most part, but definitely this is something that can kind of go higher. But again, you have to be very careful with these ETFs, because again, they're only really somewhat considered to kind of hold for very short periods of times and kind of hitting the market bang on the button. Mint says, hey Ken, can you look at CRSR? Thanks. Yeah, my friend, what's up, dude? How you been? CRSP. Yeah, we did just talk about this one, right? CRISPR. Yeah, CRISPR. Like we just talked about this one coming into 140 to 150 range. That's going to be a key level because we did see it fail here again into that February timeframe, which a lot of those growth stocks did get hit here. So we can see that volume kind of break up here and continue to see that upward projection here. We can easily see that break above 150 there. In the short term, we have some support coming around 130 to around 133. Trade says, what about GAG? What? GAJG. Yeah, I don't see that one. CVM, I never heard of that one either. Ooh, wow. Talk about, this thing looks super choppy here. What does this do? Is it engaged in research and development of developing treatment for cancer? Okay, it's a pharmaceutical stock. So Very choppy here, clearly off the bat. Looks like they clearly got some kind of FDA approval, or they got some kind of great news out of one of their drugs or something here. But that, because that just went gangbusters here, kind of came back to under the reality here, the 144 EMA. Got a second blip here. Now it's kind of rebounding here. Potentially, if this can kind of continue, we're going to be looking for $28 potentially here, if that can kind of break out above that range here. But in the short term, we have some support around 21 to around that $18, $19 range there. You're welcome, Ross. US is asking for your thoughts on SNDL. I don't have too many thoughts on SNDL here again. This thing is somewhat dormant here. Can it run? Sure, why not? Like, it definitely could run if it does get that, not just, I'm not even going to say the meme stocks or the Wall Street bet stocks, just if it gets kind of the, speaking of marijuana stocks or anything like that, we can easily see this to popping up higher here, breaking above $1-ish to that 160 range. I usually don't like to play these stocks like that, but yeah. Yeah, we looked at Baba as well. We looked at Baba potentially kind of ratcheting higher. Alan, what's up, my friend? Everybody holding UTI and bag holders thoughts. I never heard of that one as well. But Makeshift's asking about what about JD? You going to trade it, Ken? JD, that's the Chinese, right? Yeah, JD.com. A lot of these Chinese stocks are kind of making these like very. It's almost like I need to make a graph and kind of show these charts. Like these charts are very much like stacked the same way. They've made a bottom, came back up, failed, made like a very significant like U-shaped bottom here, and really trying to poking at the wall or knocking at the door or kicking in the door or whatever you want to call it, at a very key level. A lot of them is potentially good. It's going to be around that the 144 EMA level. So we can kind of see that kick higher here, especially with JD. If it gets above 80, it can maybe run. But I'm a little always hesitant, honestly, Makeshift, on the Chinese stocks. So I always play it super conservative here. Do only Patreon members get to ask about tickers? No, anyone can ask tickers, but I'm gonna definitely show favoritism to my people that support me, right? What happened to PAVE? I think this just kind of happened with the breakdown of the infrastructure bill that everyone was like hoping on passing. It was like, again, it started out with like under $1 trillion, and then it went to 2 trillion. I heard 3.4, I heard 5 trillion, and it's just kind of been slashed ever since then and been kind of just like forgotten about, honestly, Vincent. And it's kind of coming back here, maybe slightly, because again, this did kind of pretty aggressively kind of move down here. If we can get back above this trend here, looking for around $25-ish plus here, and maybe kind of consolidating here and making its way a little bit higher here, that would be something a little bit more reasonable and going forth. But this was a very beautiful trend to begin with. If we can get back on the horse and continue to ride this trend, I'm all for it. What percentage cash you hold? Jason asked me. As of right now, since I'm going, again, if you're new to the channel, I have multiple accounts, and my trading account is actually pretty much around like 55 to 60 cash percent, because again, I took a lot of things off because a lot of things moved last week, right? Like especially the later half of the week, a lot of things really pushed higher here, and normally my go-to is just selling premium in a lot of the stocks, so that really did kind of come through there. I'm thinking about getting into CHPA for long term. What are your thoughts? CHPT. Yeah, I don't know the full like story behind this one. I know it was a SPAC. I forget. I remember it's to tip my tongue on what the SPAC was. But initially speaking, here, a lot of these growth stocks have come back here. it's I got to be fully transparent here, Jason. I'm very large shareholder in Tesla and a very large bull in Tesla as well. So I think that Tesla is going to be becoming the gas station of EV car companies as well. Um, this is something I want to be very careful about. And I don't, if it's a long term investment, I would need to look more closely at the fundamental story, not just the chart. Because again, there's not too much to go off. Again, this was a SPAC that just kind of came out last year, so we really only have like one earnings behind us, and it's just somewhat of a newer investment. V is asking for TRCH. Yeah, Torch. That's the one that everyone was talking about last week. Did basically what we talked about, coming into Monday, all-time high, and then just continuously selling, gapping down, with that split in mind as well. Vincent saying, help me make sense of this. S&P 500 all-time high inflation with high unemployment. Do you think is a crash coming? Thanks. Vincent, I never know when a crash is coming like anyone else. People do say that they know when a crash is coming, but I don't know why those folks are not like trillionaires. When they say that they know when a crash is coming, like, okay, if you know a crash is coming, let's just put all your cash into these like VIX calls. Like those VIX calls will explode when the crash happens. But I think everyone knows who's been trading for more than a couple months. No one knows where really potentially a market crash could be coming from. Yes, all the things that you stated does have some concern on the radar, like inflation, high unemployment. The Fed, you're looking at what the Fed says, they're saying that the unemployment is still fairly high, but it's a little bit more higher in different prisms of the workforce. So it's like most likely due to the higher unemployment benefits that are currently potentially going to be expiring in September here. We potentially can kind of get that labor shortage kind of fixed. Again, just went to a restaurant today to pick up takeout, and I put the order in 45 minutes ahead of time. Went in there, waited for, picked up order just for 6. Waited there for about 35 minutes, waiting for the order, being very patient about it and everything. They said they were short staffed. I totally believe it. Like, if there's like 2 people cooking for a fairly nice Italian restaurant, I think it's going to be, it's hard for them to find work because, again, unemployment benefits and people are just trying out new things, I guess. With inflation, I don't know. I have my viewpoints on inflation. I think inflation's on some things is continuing to be going higher, which we are seeing somewhat in the sight of just like what's a good standpoint, like forward/CL. So this is just the crude. I think this is if the commodities continue going higher, I do more and more believe in inflation, honestly. So that's my viewpoint on that. Yar. Interesting stuff though. Especially like look at crude oil. Like, again, this is the futures market. And again, I'm making all-time high, nearly $75. If we zoom this out to a 5-year weekly chart, we're looking into that all-time high that we just had into 2018. And potentially seeing that level up here. I think once we start seeing more news, Alan or Vincent, whoever asked, on people more focused on like the Fed potentially cutting rates, because they're not saying they're kind of be cutting any rates or sorry, increasing the rates anytime until like, what was it, 2023. Like, that's quite a long term ways away. That's kind of a long time. So something I want to be very cautious about on that. And things can change pretty fast in the market, right? Like, historically speaking, August, September are very volatile months. And that's definitely what I'm going to be looking for as well. Because, again, we could see more people talking about the new Delta variant or whatever coming out. And if things are going back to normal, that could kind of cause a damper on some more things and people that could kind of maybe spook the market, and kind of get some literally like really quick, fast made selling coming through there. Let's see here. Let's do a couple more. Thoughts on CLOV for Clover? At Clover Health, insane stock is again. This is definitely one of the Wall Street Bets meme favorites here. This has definitely been one that had again large gap up higher here, coming back down to these like I wouldn't say uh, dire levels here. It is coming to that 34 EMA here, the Fibonacci retracement here, holding that 13-19-ish range. That would be fine. So if it stays above 13, that would be pretty a-okay here. But it did, on its first bounce from the lows here, it did fail here at $15 here. So that's going to be a pretty like a con for it. It's not a great sign for it. So if it does come back down to break below 1188 and does not kind of get that little bounce back here, that could be a time for some more selling kind of coming through and making its way to that $10 range there. And let's see here. Oh yeah, makeshift. Yes, I still own a couple stocks or shares of that. The UWMC. Of course, this one it's kind of like falling into the mortgages, right? So this thing hasn't moved like Rocket did. This again was somewhat considered some of the meme stocks here, but this is definitely something that is kind of coming down to some initial support here around $9.36 to around $9.10-ish, basically a $9 range here. That would be that pretty significant support level coming in there. But this did run up a little hot here. Not seeing the volume that we saw previously when this meme stock was kind of ratcheting higher here. But I think this is more of a more legit play than some of the other meme stocks, to be quite honest with you. Dush is looking for TLT calls. Yeah, I think TLT. I like to trade TLT quite a bit here. I like TLT potentially coming into around 140, like the higher 140. So like 140, 140, 75, 140, 70, that kind of range. That potentially could be a nice little potentially nibbling pattern here, and maybe get that bounce back up to that 145 range there for that. Any good SPACs that you're currently hearing, or lots of meetings or votings coming up? I haven't really. I've kind of like I don't know what happened. Like just the SPAC market kind of fell off my list there. To be quite honest with you, my friend. Alan is asking a great question. Ken, what are your thoughts on the repo market? Like it's going there. If you're talking about like the repo market, about like what the Fed's buying, in the sense of like what is it like $85 billion or something like that on a given basis. That's the one thing that people were looking for them to cut, but they actually didn't cut, which was somewhat kind of concerning for a lot of people who were like, what are you doing here? Like kind of scenario. Oh, why did this web page died on me here? I had a great little web page I wanted to show you. Why did it die? Uh-oh. Let's see here. I guess it does not work anymore. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see here. What was the thing? I can't find it. I have to look it up again on the exact numbers, but I know the exact numbers of what's going on with the Feds buying it. Again, that's another thing too, Alan, that I think that once those numbers come down here and there's just not just handing out money and just buying anything up, gobbling things up, and just continues to kind of creating this, I don't know if it's artificial floor support here, but definitely something to look at and to see them talk about. It's more the things that I hear people talk about more is the unemployment stuff, and then the potential raising of rates and when that will happen. I think makeshift. It is pretty early to make look at the TLT. Greg, what's up with it? Does PayPal have more juice left to 300 again? Um, yeah, I own PayPal. This thing has definitely been kind of coming back to the mitts here. It's at 290 as of right now. 300 is in its sights here. Again, like we just talked about towards the beginning of the stream, we talked about earnings season basically starting to, people are starting to put in their some positions in. So as we talked about, the banking stocks, the financial stocks start reporting the week of the 14th. So they're going to start reporting basically 2 weeks from Monday. We start hearing about Bank of America, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all these financial firms, right? And they kind of set the tone for potentially the market. So, especially being PayPal being someone in the financial market, but expanding more across it, again, getting into the Bitcoin stuff, making it easy. They are in the just trying to making transactions for small businesses and creating more an ecosystem around that. PayPal is definitely a longer term play for me because, again, if we zoom out to the weekly side here, we are again really seeing that nice ramp up here. We're again looking for some longer term targets for around 340 to 360 that I have. Again, those are going to be 18 months to 2 years out though, for PayPal. Kev T, what's up, my man? Roku, yes, another one, the fan favorite of last year. This thing is coming back, like again with vengeance. Like we saw a lot of the other growth stocks, pretty significant base here off that 340-ish range, popping up higher, getting past 420, making its way, trying to get up to $445 here. That's going to be a pretty significant level there as well here. Again, that's a Fibonacci level coming in through here. Of course, it's all-time high at 486.72. If we can continue to see this momentum, I don't know if it's going to be a straight line here to around that 550 plus here. That's going to be a very new target to be broken at that level here. But in the short term, we have some support coming in around 412 to basically that 400 range, and even to 389, potentially seeing that level kind of coming through there. Alf, is the VIX calls for October? What's your thoughts? I do terrible with just buying straight calls and the VIX. I do terrible work. So much red in that chart. Russell's buying should continue, so I expect higher prices to maintain. PSC, yeah, this is the the one that I don't know. This kind of was a Wall Street Bets meme stock and kind of just kind of fell off the again the earth here. Again, this is supposed to be um, Pershing Squares. This is going to be Bill Ackman's fund here, coming into again that pretty key level here where the SPAC kind of started around $22 ish. To kind of see this does break out here, we're looking for that 24.25. I am not quite sure when this universal audio market thing that they're bought is going to be closing though. For boomers. Ride and Workhorse did not do well for the SPAC market, 100% Dutch traders. Have you watched Works' board members video on YouTube? They read from cards, fraud. Oh, they use Ken's outro music. Oh, they use my outro music? Well, my outro music is actually from YouTube, so they can use whatever, right? Workhorse. Yeah, I have nothing to say about those guys and ladies. Ken, how do you feel about the banking earnings season will affect XLF? So honestly, Alan, I'll show you my cards. I'm pretty long XLF. Um, I've been trading in around a core position for some time here. With longer dated calls, mostly the stock here, holding that 34 EMA here on the way up. Again, had that break with that Fed meeting and some volatility came into the market here. We did gobble up just a little bit more, adding to the position here in the longer term perspective here, around $35. Looking for this continue to kind of climb higher here. I'm really looking for some prices. Again, not sure when, but I'm looking for $40 plus potentially to be reached. We'll take some more some shekels off the board once it hits there. Do you like BON as a speculative play? Let's take a look. BON. I don't know what this does. It's only got 2 days of trading here. Bond Natural Life is Chinese-based company. Care such as plant extracted fragrances, compounds, and perfumes. I don't have too much to say about it. I've never heard of it, honestly. And it's only got 2 days of trading here, so I got nothing to say there, my friend. Julia's asking for skills, right? This is the gaming one, right? I always get this one and the other one mixed up. Right? This is the technology company that provides Moza service for gaming developers through mobile esports platform. Yeah. So this is again a very one that was very much bought up, right, from like Kathy Woodstock, right? It's really going to put on a lot of people's radar. This was this a spec? We zoom out on this one here. Yeah, it looks like it definitely was a SPAC here. Had that huge run up into that February time frame, and then it's kind of came crashing down here, and pretty much large crash, or a very steep correction here. Had 2 earnings here. Didn't look too fantastic here. A little bit of volume kind of coming in here. I like the level of support here around 1850-ish. If it can kind of hold here in the short term at 1850 here, I think we can easily see a break to 22 to even that 23, higher 23s to $24 range. But that's going to be a key level to the upside resistance if we do see that pattern kind of break to that level there, my friend. Didn't realize GWEOs was on the Wall Street Bets radar. What is JWEL? Chinese based, particularly in providing supplements. Yeah, not much volume going on there, so can't really talk too much about that. And honestly, it's very much like in a downward trend here. But yeah, Wall Street Bets picks it up. Anything can happen, right? Tim's asking about DDD. Oops. 3D systems, 3D printing stuff has been really pretty strong and coming back here substantially more than others. So everyone remembers NNDM. This thing is slightly kind of coming back here. It's found some support here around $7 plus here, but DDD has done substantially better on recovering from these stocks here, from the downfall here, and potentially finding some short-term support coming around $36.67. Initially speaking, if that next Fibonacci number could be reached, would be $45 plus here. But in the short term, we have that support coming in on $36.67 to around that $35 range in the short-term support there. Speaking of Wall Street Bets, look at TR. It's getting and has $34, might be catching a squeeze. Yeah, this was, I remember this one. This is definitely, what was this? You make a good point here. The company offers a wide range of chocolate and bubbly gum delicious. The product is manufactured in a range of packaging. Yeah, so this is basically candy, apple, caramel pops, Kids play Tootsie Roll Pops. This is, yeah. Um, Definitely could see a squeeze since we have already had one in the past. So it's kind of structured in its DNA. If it does happen again, we could see a pretty significant bounce. In hindsight, I'm more or less potentially looking at this one. If it does reach higher, we're looking for 36 to maybe even 40, but that would need significant more amount of volume kind of come through. Because again, if you remember that February squeezes, those were once in a lifetime or once in a decade at least opportunities there. Oops. Let's see here. ATOS. That sounds familiar. Wow. That's a nice little parabolic pharmaceutical stock there, my friend. Good job. I was thinking about swinging through Halloween. For what? The TR, the Tootsie Roll? TR is not showing up on Wall Street Backers. Yeah. Again, you have to remember, like, how many meme stocks were there that really kind of ratcheted higher here? But you have to remember a lot of, like, remember Kodak? Kodak was one that blew off as well, and that has been done next of anything as well. So, yeah, these squeezes are very much like a black hole, ladies and gentlemen. It's very hard to isolate them, it's hard to find them, and it's really hard to understand on what they are doing or what potentially could happen next. It's very much uh, um, uh, a tricky move. So with TR, like I said, pretty much sure the option's going to be pretty not the greatest priced here. Like, look at this. They're very wide here. Again, the $40 calls, well, this is all the way to December. It's looking more like the August. Like, the 40 cents here, 50-ish cents here, almost here, 40 cents here, and there's hardly any volume in the options here. So this is going to be something very risky to kind of play it here, because if you're who are you going to try to sell it to? Like the market maker? The market maker is going to make sure that it's going to make you bleed. Can you finish TATOS? Did I just do that one? Yeah, it's a parabolic move. Like, again, what I mean by that is it has no a level that we could see here. Is we're seeing this kind of try to from its previous high here. What am I doing here? Previous high to this level here, it's reaching out here. So this continues to run. We could potentially see that 1167 here come through in here, Julia, and even $18. But those are the Fibonacci levels here. That doesn't mean it needs to happen here. When the stock usually just kind of goes insane in the membrane here and doesn't really hold the 8 EMA at all and is pretty a distance from it, that's gone parabolic here. So this is very much a hot flame here. And if you just don't know how to cook in this kind of scenario, you don't want to step up to the stove here. Because if it does pull back, it's going to pull back fast and potentially break through 750, go through 6, and maybe make its way back down to $5 before we can even see any kind of like a bounce or any kind of resistance really to kind of come through here, especially on a very high, fast market move like this guy. Anyone else got a couple more stocks to look at them before we call it a day here? I want to thank John again for the $10 donation. I really do appreciate that, my friend. Coffee on John. Oh, this is ETF energy transfer over 11% next week. ET. Will it go above 1150 next week? Maybe. It is. Did see some like market move down here, but we're looking for initially if it can stay above 1050-ish range. On a weekly basis, it's going to be very hard to look at if where it could be going because again, a week is not too much to look at. It has been kind of holding the 8 EMA here. It has sometimes traded sideways once that 34 EMA gets closer to the 8 EMA. So like we talked about here, potentially seeing some more consolidation in the market kind of coming through because we have been fairly hot in the last week or so. SWBI, is that West Smith and Western? Oh my gosh. Ugh, what a move. Wow. Gangbusters. Wow. That's an insane move. I hope you're in that. Hope you're in that. Yeah, very much again breaking out very strong earnings, and again we're seeing that 8 EMA very distant from the ticks, so that's going to be a very key sign of like, hey, be careful. This one, this definitely could run quite a bit here. So can it run? How far can it run? I don't know. Like, we'll see here. It just in the short term, the fibs here is not going to be able to tell us too much here. Oops, click. Potentially, again, it's broken past that $29-ish range initially, which would be easier money. But that 38 is going to be that next Fibonacci level way up there. Dan, we did do Space. Space is probably the stock that is going to haunt me the most in the next couple of weeks, because again, I had the $15 calls. I made money on them. I made, I think, at least 3 times my money, but I could have made like 50 times my money. But anyways, you live and you lose. We'll see this one if it can kind of continue here. We're looking for this one potentially maybe reaching its all-time high fairly soon if that market kind of can continue to look at here. Pins too, please. I've been looking at better. Yeah, pins has definitely been one I've enjoyed last year here. This is kind of coming back into fruition here. Getting back above that $72 range where we saw continuously consolidation kind of coming through here. That's actually a very good observation there, Kev, to look for this one and kind of continue here and making its way back up to $80 plus. I actually like this one. Short-term support around $72 here. Stronger support kind of coming in below that $68 to $66 there. Ross is asking for GE. Yes, GE has been a nice monstrous run and just trading sideways. Like, Ross, it's those call. I have longer term calls on this one and stock, and it's just been somewhat stagnant and just not doing next of anything. Like, we're looking for the next catalyst, some kind of market move, whatever could maybe potentially push this one back above 14, and we're really looking for that $15.36 price target there, Ross. We are seeing that 34 EMA starting to come in here. There's potentially, or the 144 EMA, if we can see this one kind of continue to build here, maybe get that little push higher here to see that one rocket jump up there. Alan, thank you for the $5. Looking for Ford. Yes, you and I have been in Ford for quite some time here. Again, I think the CEO has been very outspoken in talking about how they're really trying to, again, with the Ford pickup truck, the electric Ford pickup truck that they're redoing. They have the Ford SUV Mustang. What else? They have electric coming out. They have was it the Edge or something like that? Not the Edge. I forget what it was. And coming out with the more electric vehicles and components and just trying to compete in that world. Initially speaking here, I have some Ford, some support coming in on 14-ish, 50-ish range. That's going to be coming to that 34 EMA here, which we kind of use as a trailing trend line here. And then looking forward to kind of break above $16 here. Since it's a little bit longer term holding for me as well here. Again, we're looking for that pretty key level support here on 14.23, but we're looking for it to break above 16 and making that run up to $20 in the short term. I'm sorry, in the longer term. Then I have to go Rick and Morty baby all night long. Alan, God bless you. Ross, I know it's been very much just kind of just trading sideways. Like GE, Ford has kind of like made as well, like not as much as GE. It's kind of like it got a lot of love, but now it's kind of just kind of trading sideways. So I can definitely see this kind of just like resting a little bit, consolidating and getting that next push higher once we start getting some more positive news about people adopting the Mustang more, and of course that pickup truck is going to be a very large catalyst as well, which there hasn't been too much talking about that. We also have, that's what I was thinking about, the Bronco. A lot of people have been talking about the Bronco as well. I've actually seen a couple of those cars pop up here as well. FUBO, talking about one that has been something of like forgotten as well. Same kind of scenario like a lot of these other growth stocks that we've talked about basically all night, of just seeing it kind of just ratchet higher here, that we saw the ones in February come right back down. Very aggressive, like not a V-shaped recovery, but a little bit more choppier than that, and coming back into play. So looking for $35 is going to be that key level of resistance. If we can get kind of a break through that, potentially we're going to be looking for $40 plus in the near term for that one. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, from the bottom of my heart, thank you again for so much for stopping by. Alan, John, thank you for the donations as well. Again, really do appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, come on over, join the Discord. Completely free, no obligations, nothing but fun going on there. It's just basically just a handful of folks. So we talk about stocks, we talk about Costco snacks, yoga, weight loss, all kinds of stuff. We have a kind of like a book club that we kind of talk about as well, and so forth, kind of having some fun in there. Again, completely just swing on over, have some fun. Greatly appreciate it. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, have a great evening. Have a great trading week. Again, reach out to me if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, and I'll try to do my best to negate and help you try to get through this crazy market with my God honest opinions. All right, you have a wonderful trading week, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.